Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review and discuss fantasy and science fiction books. Today we are talking about 207, The Wandering Inn. So, just did an episode yesterday on chapter 206. 207 does not have the same amount of lore drops and lore dumps as the previous one. However, this one does feel like it is pushing our story along a bit. So the main thrust of this is Ryoka and Erin kind of have a conversation about improving the inn and like what they are going to do next. So we've kind of got a lot of balls juggling in the air really when it comes to the Wandering Inn. So you've got what's going on with Ghazi, you've got is there something going on with the Antinium? You've got what's going on with the goblins and with Rags, and what's going on like with the ruins, although the ruins kind of feels dealt with. We've also got, if you think about purely from Ryoka's perspective, we have what's going on with Terry the Dragon, what's going on with Persua, and what's going on with like her runners gilding. And we also have the kind of background thought of like Erin knows she wants to attend Wistrom Academy and pay someone to take her home. So there's really a lot in terms of goals and things for our characters to work towards. But Erin and Ryoka identify a couple of things that they want to do kind of to move forward and to give them like their aim for the next phase of this story. And Erin's is really that she wants to make money because once she has money she can pay to heal Chiria's hand, and she also wants to improve the inn. She wants to get a new refrigeration magic enchantment on her cabinets. She wants, or like preservation magic, whatever it actually is. She wants to include some new dishes. There's an interesting bit where she's like, Ryoka teaches how to make ice cream. She's like, oh my god, I had no idea that was how you made ice cream. And then Ryoka's like, well, yeah. And of course, you can sell ice cream, but in the current climate, it's only going to be a thing for like the super rich because normal people don't have sweets or desserts. And you'll also need to be able to, you know, keep it cold, which can't currently do, and it's winter so people might not want it. And then even if all of these things line up and you make this perfect product and all this, then you've got to deal with the fact that people are just going to steal your idea and they're going to steal it pretty quickly. So there's quite a few jokey conversations back and forth, and she's like, maybe you should make snow cones, but honestly if you make snow cones people are still going to steal that idea. So my cat has decided that now is the exact right time to scratch on a cat scratcher. Oh, he stopped already. Well done, Gus. He knows that I'm filming. He must have seen the light that outside that says that on air, please be quiet. I don't have one of those. So we have this interesting conversation between Ryoka and Erin, and Erin's kind of like, Ryoka, I don't want you to leave, like stay here and live in the inn and work with me and stuff because you're so smart. And Ryoka's like, you know, Ryoka's very clearly like doesn't want to be there, and Erin has worked out as well. She's like, I know you don't want to be here, like in her internal monologue. She's like, I'm a social person, and now Gus is trying to climb into a cardboard box which has paper in it, and that's incredibly loud and annoying. Gus, come over here. Come up here. So what we have is Ryoka's very intensely antisocial in terms of like she doesn't like social interaction. Erin likes being social, probably a good thing for someone who owns an inn, and that's kind of where they kind of split off with that difference between the two of them. Lots of cat-related editing in this episode. And literally 2 cats on screen. Is this the first time we've ever had 2 in the video on the channel? That's pretty exciting. Right, boys? Anyway, so what happens is they split off, and they both kind of have interactions with the winter sprites, I think they're called. So, or like, I want to say frost fairies, but I think winter sprites is what they're actually called. And it turns out, so we get a bit from Pisces, that Pisces is like, yeah, people can't actually see the winter sprites. We just see like a ball of light. And Erin is quite like, I don't know, she like doesn't believe him. She's like, no, clearly they're fairies, this is going on. And then like Ryoka, while she's running, is like being basically accosted and bullied by these frost fairies, and they appear to be not particularly very nice. They're like mischievous. There's a very fun bit where Paraba says that they had a West Country accent, and it's like, Erin wouldn't be able to determine this, but they have various British Isles accents, which I assume will come back at some point. Like, fairies are very strongly associated with Britain and the British Isles. Lots of famous fairy stories come from here, like fairies who live in the garden and things like that. So Gus is at the exact right point where if he wants a stroke, he has to put his head in frame. Don't you, bud? Do you want a stroke? Yeah, he's literally got to put his head in frame to get a stroke, so that's fun for him. And there's literally cat head floating around the room. They're molting so much right now. Anyway, so sorry about this chaotic cat-filled YouTube video. So in terms of character stuff this episode, I think that the most interesting character stuff is the relationship between Ryoka and Erin. They both kind of, they're almost like yin and yang of each other. Like, so Erin is this kind of like bubbly, social, friendly, needs other people sort of extrovert. And Ryoka is very much almost that inverse. So she needs time to herself. She needs to be by herself. She doesn't like talking very much. Although it does seem like she likes Erin, which I do like. I think that these pairings of like introverts and extroverts often are really good character pairings that I enjoy. So that's working really well for me personally. You get a little bit of Pisces and Erin, which isn't really enough to comment on too much beyond like, we like Pisces, he's fun. And I like that he's always described as being dirty and possibly smelly. I just think that's fun. Now, we also get quite a bit of lore about the frost fairies, winter sprites, whatever they're called. And I do really want to see whether there is actually an association with the UK, with Great Britain, with England, because that is classically where a lot of fairy stories come from, although that could just be because, you know, how like colonialism, English writing overriding local cultures, things like that. But I don't know anything about fairy stories really, beyond like a lot of people have like fairy doors in their gardens and things for their kids, which I think is fun. But so we've got that kind of in the background, as it were, lore-wise. And it's very interesting that Ryoka says she feels a pang of guilt at not completing the delivery for Teriarch the Dragon, because there's an interesting aspect there, because Teriarch the Dragon obviously in the Volume 1 had compelled Ryoka to do this job for him. So the fact that she's now able to willingly not do the job and feel guilty about it is quite an interesting development, and I wonder if that is a conflict between the original version and the rewrite, because it felt quite clear that there was a compulsion in the rewrite, but I think that somebody who talked about this in one of the comments on one of my videos, that there isn't as much of a compulsion in the original. She also says in her narration that she regrets not telling Erin about Magnolia and Teriarch. That is interesting again. So Magnolia is a character that I feel like we have literally not seen in months of me reading, like at least 10 or more chapters. I mean, obviously we haven't seen her from a character's point of view, Ryoka or Erin. Like, we saw her in a short paragraph at the beginning of last chapter, but like actual, a lot of Magnolia we've not seen. And I would like to see more from her because she is a really interesting character. Also, I've lost my train of thought because the cat has been going mad. This particular chapter there's not much to talk about, and I think that sometimes when you don't do the blow by blow of what happens in the chapter, you kind of get to the point where you're like, some of this stuff might be relevant further down the line, but this particular chapter, not too much to talk about. That kind of happens here. Erin does gain the warrior class, and it seems like she gains warrior class level 2, it says, and she gets the lesser endurance or whatever. I don't remember whether she got warrior class level 1. Was that where she got unerring throw from? There's a lot going on. People in the comments, do let me know if she got unerring throw from warrior level 1 at some point and I have just forgotten about it. But yeah, there's a lot going on in these chapters, but a lot of it is like interesting dialogue. It's world building elements and stuff that we can kind of run through. So yeah, I think this is a slightly disjointed episode, and yes, that might possibly be because the both of my cats have decided to go mental for the exact 10 minutes that I wanted to record this. And unfortunately, I cannot stop and re-record this, which I might have actually done, to be honest. However, great chapter this week. I do hope I haven't made you all very upset with me for not actually having that much to say about this chapter. However, you'll be pleased if you would like to hear me talk long form about The Wandering Inn. There is going to be a 1-hour full spoiler discussion video for Volume 1 with Lion from the channel Hobbies of a Man. That will be posting next either Tuesday or Wednesday. So hopefully that will be something that people will be interested in. Please do tune in for that. There will also be another episode of The Wandering Inn next week, as always. Thanks so much for watching today. Please like the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, just ignore it. You don't need to dislike it. That button doesn't exist anymore, I think. Drop a comment down below if you have any answers to the questions that I asked, or if you'd just like to talk about this chapter, or just say, hey, love the videos, great chatting to you. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Around 70% of the people who watch these videos are subscribed, which is something really fantastic. But the 30% of you that are not subscribed, it's only a little click. It's a little button's right there. It'll help you find the videos in future, rather than having to search them every time or find them shared on social media and stuff. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I will speak to you tomorrow.